The winter of 1941 was coming, and the Eastern Front was about to show its true face. Germany had advanced thousands of miles into the Soviet Union, confident that victory was just weeks away. Tanks rolled across plains, infantry marched for hours, and the roar of blitzkrieg seemed unstoppable. Yet beneath the snow and steel, a problem was growing, one that would test soldiers, leaders, and machines in ways no one had imagined. The cold was merciless, the terrain endless, and the Russian resistance unyielding. History Plus brings you this story because it's not just a tale of war. It's a story of endurance, mistakes, and survival under unimaginable conditions. Before we dive in, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to History Plus. This helps us bring more in-depth World War II stories right to your feed every week. Now imagine standing on that frozen battlefield, the snow crunching under boots, frost biting your fingers, and the distant rumble of tanks echoing across the frozen fields. Germany's strategy had relied on speed. The assumption was simple: hit hard, hit fast, and the Soviet Union would crumble. At first it worked. Entire Soviet units were encircled and destroyed. Cities fell quickly. Supply lines moved efficiently at first. But the deeper into Russia the Germans advanced, the more the snow, cold, and endless forests began to work against them. Roads turned into mud in autumn, and as winter arrived, ice and frost made movement nearly impossible. Tanks froze, horses struggled to pull wagons, and supplies could not reach the front lines. Soldiers who had once marched with confidence now faced frostbite, hunger, and exhaustion. Every mile forward became a fight for survival rather than a fight for victory. The Soviet forces, meanwhile, adapted quickly. They knew the land, they knew the winter, and they were prepared to defend it. Small units launched counterattacks, harassing supply lines and slowing the German advance. The front, which was supposed to be a quick march to Moscow, turned into a massive, frozen quagmire. History Plus takes you inside this moment to show how winter itself became one of the deadliest enemies for Germany. By December 1941, German morale was dropping, fuel and ammunition were scarce, and the Red Army was preparing its first major counteroffensive. What had started as a lightning-fast operation now threatened to stall completely, and this was just the beginning of the battle, against the cold, the snow, and a resilient Soviet opponent. As the winter deepened, the scale of the struggle became staggering. German troops were exhausted, equipment was failing, and every day brought new challenges. Artillery froze, rifles jammed, and even basic supplies like food and medical aid became hard to deliver. Units that had been strong in the summer were now fighting against the elements as much as against the Red Army. The Soviet soldiers, on the other hand, were hardened by the cold. They had proper winter gear, understood the terrain, and used the forests and snow to their advantage. They launched counterattacks in small, coordinated groups, striking where German forces were weakest. Communication lines for Germany were stretched thin, and reinforcements often arrived too late to make a difference. Leadership decisions also began to weigh heavily. Hitler insisted on holding certain positions at all costs, even when tactical. Retreats could have saved thousands of lives and equipment. Generals who advised withdrawals or regrouping were overruled. This rigidity made German losses worse and allowed the Soviets to recover ground and reorganize for larger counteroffensives. By the end of this period, it was clear that the winter and the strategic mistakes of leadership had combined to stall the German advance. Germany's frozen front line was no longer moving forward. It was beginning to crumble under pressure. By early 1942, the situation for Germany on the Eastern Front was dire. The initial momentum of Operation Barbarossa had vanished. Troops were weary, supplies were low, and winter had frozen both the land and the German advance. The Red Army, meanwhile, was growing stronger, reorganizing and preparing for massive counteroffensives. What had started as a rapid, confident invasion had turned into a slow, punishing struggle for survival. Historians agree that this winter proved decisive. Germany's strategic mistakes, combined with the brutal Russian winter, had weakened its forces irreversibly. The frozen front line had shown that no plan, no matter how well conceived, could overcome the combination of weather, distance, and determined resistance without proper preparation. This moment teaches a clear lesson. Even the strongest armies can falter when strategy ignores the elements and